Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Whole Soul Podcast.
Mhm.
Today, we are bringing on Ollie, who is
Ah.
a sister that I've been following. We've been mutuals on socials for I don't even know how long now. And literally, since the first time I saw you come up on my feed, you just
Mm.
exuded this like positive and radiant and magnetic energy. And I've always been like, wow, I feel like we'd just be such good friends in person because, yeah, you're just such a light and a sunshine. And I just want to bring more women like that onto the podcast and into my world and in my space.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm so glad that you're here and I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. We got some like pillars we could talk about, but honestly, it will be a magical and divine unfoldment to exactly where we're meant to go. So, yeah, hey Ollie, and I would love for you to maybe just do a little bit of an introduction into who you are, like what your passions are, where you're at right now in this season of life and whatever feels like you want your heart to share right now.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I feel so blessed to be here. This is actually my first podcast, so thank you for inviting me on into this
Honor.
space. I'm just going to reflect back everything that you shared about me ever since I've discovered you and your beautiful soul online. I just felt so connected to you from afar and just like you are such a radiant light in the world, and the messages that you share are so just medicine. And I'm super grateful to be connected with you and to be in this space with you today. So, for those of you watching or listening, my name's Ollie. I live on the Big Island of Hawaii. I'm also a content creator. My content is centered around food and holistic living. I am a chef, and it's my medicine, and it's where I found my healing. I've gone through a pretty intense health journey that I feel a lot of women can relate to, of hormone dysregulation, just feeling really uncomfortable in my body and um, disconnected from my body. And I went through a huge acne journey, inflammation, and something in my soul just knew that there was a way to heal naturally, um, despite everything that the doctors were telling me, and um, you know, all the birth control and everything like that. Like I just, my soul knew there was another way, and so like that led me to my journey of healing myself naturally. I found herbs and food and eating things that come from the earth, that are provided to us from God, from the earth, and living in tune with nature and the natural rhythms and regulating my nervous system. And like that is the medicine, and it's all connected. And so that's how I live my life and what I share online. And yeah.
Yeah, a freaking man. And I feel like that's such a big reason why I felt such a draw to you always, because I feel like there's so many parallels in our journeys where,
Mm.
yeah, like I also went through a huge cystic acne healing journey and just gut issues and hormonal dysregulation and yeah, just like completely changing my relationship to food. And I so feel that and it's so felt from everything that you post online that your radiance just like exudes through the food that you create and the way that you cook and the way you approach life. So yeah, I would be so curious, and I'm sure everybody would be curious too, to go a little bit deeper into that journey
Mm.
of your health and like where it started, what you were dealing with, what your symptoms were, and maybe what was kind of like the catalyst that made you realize you needed to change the way that you were living your life.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, growing up, I was always really healthy. I had really clear skin, and I was an athlete. I was a soccer player, which I know you were like an avid volleyball player, right?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
super cool.
I was dedicated to soccer. Like it was my life. And then towards the end of high school, I had a boyfriend in high school, and my mom, I was young, and my mom, had me get on birth control. And um my mom, when she had gone on birth control when she was younger, she had a really bad reaction to the birth control pill and the estrogen, because she is a naturally estrogen dominant being. So her, story and her fears with that really were projected onto me. And her doctor had told her, if you keep on this pill, like, you may end up in a wheelchair. Like, I've had
Oh,
patients that have had strokes and ended up in a wheelchair. Like, this is just the most severe case. And ever since my mom was on the estrogen pill, she gets really severe migraines. She's since then, pretty much been able to um, heal them now. But that was like her journey, and so she was didn't want that to happen for me. So we didn't really do the test or anything like that. She just put me on like the progesterone implant, like the highest dose. And here I am, young, I don't know, enough of like to be like, no, I trust my mom, and she was doing the best that she could too. But I was on that for a really long time. Like, I mean, for me, I think it was like 6 years. For me, that's a long time.
yeah.
I know there's women that have been on birth control for a long time, and they have they're a similar story. But I remember being in college, once my boyfriend and I broke up, I never participated in hookup culture or anything like that. So I was like, I have this thing in me that I don't need. And then I just really started sitting with like the foreign object, like in my arm, putting these synthetic hormones in me. Like, that just is not something. In my gut was like, that is not right. So I took it out, and then when I went to take it out, the doctor, even though, I didn't have a partner, the doctor convinced me somehow to get on an IUD, and not even the copper one. I don't even know how. Like, and this is just an example of like where I was at the time, like so suppressed by being not. Go
Question.
ahead.
Were you getting
Yeah.
your period at the time or no? Were you period
There
late?
was a point where I didn't get my period. Yeah. No, I didn't get my period on the implant, the next one on. Yeah. So that was another thing. If I remember, thank you for bringing that up. I remember being like, I'm not getting my menstrual cycle, and like, that's something that's natural for women. Why am I not getting that? Something's wrong? And then
Yeah.
somehow I got convinced to go on that, and then the same cycle happened. And so I went to the doctor and was like, please, just like, I'm not, take it out of me. I don't want this. And then the snowball effect of my acne, and I always had just really beautiful clear skin. I was very blessed with that, but my acne just like flared up, and
So you were
I
like
got
22 at this time, 21?
yeah, 21-ish. 2021, yeah. Um and I just like, yeah, went through this horrible acne journey that took me really long time to get out of. And um looking back now, like, I was so inflamed also, like just puffy. And I looked so sad, and like the light in my eyes was gone. And I remember being in pain after I ate. Like, I just would bloat really bad. And that lasted for a while, like the pain after eating. Like, I thought it was something that was normal. Um, so that's kind of how my journey kind of started. Was in college. I was really just experiencing a extreme level of insecurity and discomfort, and it was not a fun time at all.
How did that show up for you in college? Like in your
Mm.
social settings, like how did it impact your life?
Yeah, I look back, and college was just such a sad time for me, and it makes me really sad.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of women out there that can relate, but I was also in college during COVID, like COVID times. So that was just in and of itself a whole thing. But I look back on pictures of myself now, and I used to plaster makeup all over my face to try and hide the acne. And I would do like eyeshadow, and which, nothing, women, everybody's got to do what makes them feel beautiful. But I was like putting on a mask,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah. And the college I went to it was a huge like party scene. We were like going to the bars, drinking out. Like I used to drink a lot. Like but I was numbing, you know, and it was what everybody else was doing. It was the social thing, but I just remember feeling so out of place always, and even reflected in like some of the things that I would wear, and like I was trying to fit in and kind of just hide, you know. I didn't want people to look at me and see my acne, you know, or my inflammation, or I didn't want to be seen or anything like that. And that breaks my heart because I think about little Ollie and I'm just like, oh, you know. And then I think about all the other women that are going through that too, and I just want to tell them like there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Everything you just said, I'm like holding my heart because it just hits so deep for myself.
Mm.
And I know it also hits so many women so deep because that's kind of just the cultural standard of what's happening. There's so many points I want to touch on. First of all, how birth control is so normalized. And for me personally, I didn't really recognize my menstrual cycle as something that is a vital sign of my health until I was
Mm.
like 22, 23 years old. And yeah, I can't even imagine how many millions and millions and millions of women don't see their cycle as something that is so important for their health and their connection to their body and to their womb, and just how disconnected we are as women from our womb. Number one, I also love how you said that your mom did the best that she could. So like, yeah, like you can't blame your parents for like doing the best that they could. And it's beautiful too because yeah, like now with the awareness that you have and the journey that you've been on, and also like for myself, there's so much, I guess, like wisdom and breakthrough in health and being able to kind of like pass on the wisdom and the knowledge, not only to like
Mm.
everyone around you through your mission, through your content, through your audience, but also if you want to have kids in the future to your daughters and yeah, just like be the guide to live a more healthy and aligned and connected life. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's one thing. And just the pain of yeah, everything that you said, just like being in pain, feeling so small, feeling so insecure, feeling so out of place, I so deeply resonate and like putting the mask on your face because, yeah, you just don't like the way you look and it's hard to accept yourself. That is so deep and so common. And even just talking about it, like hearing you share has been like healing for me to hear that because yeah, it's like where we're on the where we are right now. And yeah, for like you and I, we're kind of like past that point of healing the acne and just kind of getting to this more stable place in our health. But it's so easy to forget that girl that we were who was like suffering. So, yeah, I'm just really grateful you shared your story.
Thank you.
Do you resonate with being a sensitive woman? Yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I
Yes.
I ask that because I am too, and for most of my life, I thought there was something just like
Something wrong with you?
something fucking wrong with me. Pardon
Yeah.
my French, but like actually I spent most of my life just feeling so uncomfortable and awkward in my body because yeah, I was told by people that being sensitive was like, I don't know, it makes you
You're
weak.
too sensitive. Yeah.
Strong.
You know, like
Like
a,
you gotta
yeah.
be strong. Sorry,
Yeah.
a New York accent.
Being sensitive is strong. It is your
It
power.
is. So, yeah, my question for you is, and we can bounce back around this, but how does that show up for you in your life? Like, what is being a sensitive woman, a sensitive
Mm.
being? I guess you can share specific examples of, yeah, as you're going through life and what you feel like sensitive to or what impacts you deeper than most people.
Being a sensitive woman, I mean, you said it there, like it was this thing that I didn't think I was allowed to be, in this society that hardens us. And, I think we're around the same age, and our parents lived through such a different time, and their parents lived through like the generational passing along, like the generational trauma and energy is crazy, and really just unlearning the patterns that aren't yours. They did live in a time where the world kind of really required them to be really hard. um but we are living in a time where it's time to soften. Like softening is going to change the world that is so hard. Like it is the change that needs to happen. And so really, like, I've really just allowed myself to lean into my softness, and to it's really taught me to have really strong energetic boundaries. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect at it. I'm still learning because it's very hard in this world. And like, I don't know, I literally moved to an island in the middle of the Pacific, and I even live really rurally on this island. Like I am on a property with my partner, and like it is my like I need this space to feel like safe, honestly. And I don't mean that in like a mm, I don't mean that in like what people would traditionally think when they mean, like, like I need it to like have like space to energetically feel safe, because I will go into an environment, and if I am a sponge of the environment that I am in, and that becomes clearer and clearer the older I get. If I go into a space and there's a bunch of negativity, like I will start to really like it will like okay, let me backpedal here. Okay, let me backpedal here.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I guess what has really taught me to lean into my sensitivity is the last couple years, anxiety manifested in my life in a way that I had never experienced before. Like crippling anxiety, couldn't leave the house, or I'd be out in public and all of a sudden I'm having this out of body experience. I can't breathe, like totally disassociating. And for a while, I was really looking at it as such a negative thing. And, you know, life's all about perspective. So, yes, anxiety is really hard. But what is my anxiety trying to teach me? Or what is I don't even like to say my anxiety. What is the anxiety trying to teach me? And the more I really asked myself that question, the more I was understanding my sensitivity. Like sometimes I will go into a space and the energy is so potent that and I will absorb the energy. I am a sponge. And sometimes the energy is just too much. If I'm not regulating myself or breathing through it or taking a moment for myself, like it's going to bubble up inside of me and turn into this anxiety, and I'm going to disassociate. Um, but if I am like standing strong and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a minute, I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to regulate, I'm going to do some somatics, I'm going to tap, then it becomes like a channel. Like what is this energy, and what can I learn from it? What's it trying to, like, the energy's trying to move through me. I think that's what being a sensitive individual is we are so in tune to the environment and the energies in the world and the people around us that the energy goes right through us, and it wants to be transmuted through us, and we are light beings in that way to reflect the energy out into the world. But not having the tools within you to know how to transmute that
Mhm.
is what can cause things like anxiety. That's just kind of really what I've been learning with the journey that I've been on.
Wow, yes, amen to all of that. And also to add on, I feel like as highly sensitive people, also something I learned is that there's about like 30 to 35% of the population is considered a highly sensitive person. So
Mm,
like, for me, I also feel like these people are just more highly attuned to energy. You just feel more deeply. You're just like
mm-hmm.
extra empathic and not wearing, I'm not saying empathic to like wear that as a badge of honor and be like, oh, I'm empathic. But no, seriously, it's like feeling, absorbing way more deeply than the average person. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. Poop. That's gonna
See,
cut.
it's okay.
Why does that happen? The gift in being a sensitive person is that you're also so attuned to your channel and like everything
Mm,
around you, and you have this, I guess, like hypersensitive ability to tap into God and like live
mm.
in your divine expression, which comes through as your own creative expression, which the world needs. And yeah, I just believe that we're all little eggshells of the whole. We're all divine expressions of God. And it's pretty much like what we're here to do is be that light, be that expression that God made you to be. Do you feel like your anxiety, or not your anxiety, do you feel like the anxiety that comes up for you is from being overwhelmed by the environment or overstimulated, or do you feel that anxiety also comes from maybe worrying about the future?
I mean, yes, to all of the above. Yeah. I think anxiety can come from within, from the mind, but it also can come from external, you know?
Yeah.
And it's very situational based. Like sometimes I can spin myself into a web of anxiety if I'm thinking too much about the future, if I'm thinking too much about the present, you know, like how my present's going to affect my future. Or sometimes I'll get anxiety about like a social situation in the past and like, why did I say that? Or like, why didn't I do that? You know, like anxieties and that's it's like a fine line, right? Like sometimes it can just be overthinking and sometimes it can be anxiety. Like I was in a state of life, I would say probably like a year ago, where I would overthink myself into an anxiety attack, you
Mm.
know? And it would be the same feeling I would get in an environment where I was feeling anxious. And I remember this specific moment where I was like, I I realized something, like I realized I was changing. I was at like a neighborhood, like my old house, my neighborhood was having like a neighborhood party, and we are having like a potluck sunset thing, and it was in this beautiful property up on the hill. The sun was setting, looking at the ocean, and you haven't been to Hawaii
No,
yet, right?
not yet.
Well, the island that I live on the Big Island, and we have two active volcanoes here. One is very strong and intense, and there's Pele is her name. Um, the goddess in the volcano, and that energy in and of itself is extremely potent. And then the energy of being on an island in the middle of the ocean that was literally like, you know, just appeared. Like the energy here is intense, and so for a sensitive individual, like sometimes just like everything could be totally fine, but sometimes the energy of like the land, and there's also really incredible ancestry here from the Hawaiians and their history. And I feel I'm somebody that's very tapped into the energetics of just land in general. So sometimes I just get really overwhelmed out here. Like I'm just feeling it. And I remember this moment at this neighborhood party. The sun was setting and I was sitting around a bunch of people I knew, and I like my soul just kind of like left my body. Like I felt like I was like up here looking at the situation from like a bird's eye view, and I just remember being like I was so anxious in my body, but this feeling I was having up here was like, "Oh no, you're just like shifting into an alternate version of your like you're in this like you're in this limbo period, Ollie. Like this isn't going to be forever. Like you're going to be okay, and your life is changing. Like you are changing." It was like, yeah, I don't know. It was just it's so intense, and I look back on this time of anxiety because I really do feel that I am in a place where I am much more equipped to navigate the anxiety. But when I look back in this time, it's so clear to me now that I was really in this limbo period of like who I was and who I was becoming. Like I was I had like just gone through a complete death of the old version of myself. And I didn't, I hadn't yet fully stepped into the woman that I am now. So I was like kind of like in this really confusing area of my life where I was kind of also fighting it. You know, I loved this version of myself and I didn't want to let her go. And I didn't want to let that life go, but my life was requiring me to shed and step up and step into, you know, this woman that I love so much here. But it was really like such a confusing time for me, and I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I'm just, I guess it's coming through.
Wow, I feel that so deeply, and I feel like that's such a subtle thing that eventually gets so loud in your life where you feel like, I don't know, kind of how you explained, like you're out of body, you're kind of looking, or you're just feeling so disconnected from like
Mm,
everything in your life, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And I can relate to this. There's been like two major times in my life where I've been through this kind of like transition process. And I feel like I'm in the midst of a really big one right now where literally everything in my life felt so far away. Like I was there, but the place, I also want to speak to the energy of the land and just being so hyper attuned to the land and the energy
mm,
because I feel like a lot of people maybe have this sense of the land and feeling energy, but haven't quite yet named what it is. So, yeah, there's many ways I could go into this, but you mentioned how you feel connected to the ancestry of the land and just like the energy. There's certain places that I feel so drawn to, and
mm,
there's just something about the place that activates me. I feel like it is supporting me and becoming the next version of myself that I'm stepping into. Whereas
mm,
there's lands that I go to that I just feel like all of my patterns come up from the past. Like I'm just frustrated. They bring up like anger if I'm there for too long. And that's
mm,
actually what happened in the last place that I was living in Playa Vinal, where
mm,
I was kind of based there on and off for 4 years. When I first got there, it was amazing and it served me. But at one point, there was this subtle energy of, well, it got so loud eventually to just bringing up so much anger and like rage in me. And
mm,
that the land was communicating to me and like pushing me out, being like, it's time for you to move on. Like, get out of here. The
mm,
longer you stay, you're going to keep experiencing this turmoil and like this misalignment and just yeah, just literal emotional treachery. And it's
mm,
funny because I left and I'm back right now in New Jersey. And I just feel like all of that energy has cleared. And
mm,
although this isn't the place that I want to like be and settle down, that energy has cleared. And I feel like the land here is supporting me in kind of like becoming this next version of self.
mm.
With that being said, I feel like that's such a subtle energy of being a sensitive being and a sensitive person, of
Your
trusting
environment,
your environment, like
your environment really can shape like
totally.
how you are showing up in the world 100%, because the environment is like we said earlier, you know, like we're a channel for source and for energy, you know, and so the whatever energy is stuck in the environment and that the environment is emanating, it will come through you. And I relate very much to everything that you just shared as well. Sometimes like this place is also extremely activating, but it's also really intense. And it also like the Big Island is so, and the islands just in general, they each have their own energy,
Mhm.
and I trust that you're going to come out and visit. So
Yeah.
you're going to experience it firsthand. But it's so incredible to witness like the different energies of the different islands themselves. Like this island is like you show up here and she is going to uproot all of your shadows and like hand them to you on a silver platter and be like, if you can work through these, you can stay. Otherwise, she's going to shove you out. And it's like, I really do feel like that is what I've been going through like the last couple of years of like really having to work through these areas of my being that I am not showing up consciously in and strong in. And also it's been showing me, you know, my power of being a sensitive woman and all the medicine that can come from that. And so it's really, really interesting. I've been thinking a lot about lately how much our environments shape who we are. And yesterday I was really just reflecting on how much has changed in my life just within 3 years. Like when you think about 3 years, like yes, it's a long time, but it's also not in the big picture of life. And like there's so much that I wanted to achieve for myself. I grew up in Washington State in a really beautiful town, beautiful community, beautiful family. I love it so much, but I always just felt like there was something more for me, or I was always trying to live, the way that I do now, but it was like not, it was not
Not.
working. It was not clicking. Yeah, because my environment did not support me. It was not the right environment for me to be, it didn't support me. And moving out here has completely supported me and all of the healing. Like it just it felt like this womb to like hold me in this healing journey of mine, and in like a bunch of different capacities. And so yeah, I've really just have been reflecting so much on the environment, so it's interesting that it's come up in conversation today, just about how much our environment can really shape our reality.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I feel like there's just specific places on the earth that are kind of like portals. And
Mm.
I feel like Hawaii is such a portal. I mean, it's like out in the middle of nowhere. There's so much going on there. I feel like where I lived in Playa Now, such a portal. Like the people that are drawn there, it kind of doesn't make any sense. It's like, why are we all coming here? It's all just like very synchronistic and divine. There's so many places like that, but
Mm.
I think they like serve and draw on people who are meant to like go through certain, I guess, initiations or like
Mm.
upgrades in self-concept and like really look deep within themselves to, yeah, like alchemize any pain or shadows and
Mm.
to the next version of themselves that, yeah, your soul is like calling you to. And
They're
it's,
places of healing,
yeah,
you
and it's
know? Yeah,
your soul totally did that for you and was guiding you out of Washington, knew that you were
totally.
meant for more.
Totally. Yeah, there's so much medicine in it too, like when you grow up in the same place in this bubble of like everything that you've ever known, and then you go into a completely different environment that attracts people that are also needing to heal, like the lessons and the life and the teachings and the energy that that brings is so transformative that it's nothing that you will ever get in the bubble of if you stay where you are. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so grateful that I chose to follow the call to leave rather than stay, because I don't even know who I would be right now. Like it exposes you to a whole different way of living, and it also, I feel like, really stepping out of your environment that you're comfortable and safe in really forces you to like face yourself and who you actually are. And now you're in this place where nobody knows who you are, so you get to be who you are. um and I don't know if you're experiencing this because you're back home now, like what's like how it feels entering in an old environment that an old version of you existed, that people knew you as a different version of yourself. Like there's so much wisdom and medicine in that too. It's like really putting your boundaries to the test and like who you are to the test. Like you've gone and discovered yourself, but can you bring it back into environments that don't support you? Like that is extremely challenging, and I'm sure you're kind of moving through that right now too.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like as you're speaking, there's so many threads and points where I'm like, I want to go into that deeper. I want to go into that deeper. I want to go into that deeper. I
feel
do.
free to feel free to stop me and
Okay,
like.
I'm gonna pinpoint that. I want to backtrack a little bit because we were talking about just like being a sponge and like absorbing as a highly sensitive woman. What are some practices or like practical things that you do
Mm.
to like protect your energy and protect your space? Because if we don't protect our energy, if we aren't mindful of, yeah, like what's around us and like how we are kind of interacting with the field, then it's going to feel chaotic. We're going to feel overwhelmed. We're going to feel burnt out and exhausted. So yeah, curious to know your tools that you've accumulated over the years because I
Yeah.
also feel like we have to go through that overwhelm, through that disconnection, through that dysregulation, even through like, yeah, symptoms of acne and just like health issues that literally bring us to our knees to realize that we actually like need help and we need tools to bring us back to stability.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Something that's coming through really strongly for me right now is I have been on, I've been on my spiritual journey for quite some time now. And while I was going through this period of anxiety and shifting realities and, beings, I was getting so stuck on like my old tools and they weren't working for me anymore.
Mm.
And I was like, no, these have to work for me. They've been working for me. So things like journaling, like that was kind of like the big one. And like sitting down and meditating, I was really struggling to do. My mind wasn't clear. So of course that's not going to be medicine for me, you know? Like it was calling me to body-based practices. Like not mind. Like even
Mhm.
though my mind was racing, my mind was in overdrive, my body was overwhelmed, you know? So I needed to regulate my body first. And so that is like every day, that is my number one priority is to regulate my body. Because when you regulate your body, you have more space to regulate your mind. If your body's feeling so many emotions, it's going to be just like a storm inside, you know? So, one thing that really, 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 really has helped me is somatic practices. And
Mm.
like, I get up every morning, I roll out my yoga mat, and I've also just like really like eliminated all pressure of what it has to look like, especially in my yoga practice. Like I thought I had to really flow through this beautiful flow, of like all the postures, but no, and that's amazing. Yes, but yoga is a feeling within.
Mhm.
It's not how it looks. And that is something that I really had to break down. And so I will step on my mat and I will just like whatever my body needs, I give it. Like I will shake, I will like slouch, sometimes I will like hum or I'll be like, like whatever needs to come out. I don't want to, like, whatever it is that I'm carrying, whatever energy that I wake up with, like I just give myself like that space. And I usually make it at least 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Nothing shorter because if it's short, it feels rushed and I don't give myself enough space. Sometimes I have more expansive mornings, but it's always like I'll tap my body, tap it, wake it up, and then I'll shake it out. I'll like throw, my arms up and down, side to side, and I'll just jump I've been doing like 20 jumps every morning. I know like it's recommended to do 100, but every time I'm doing it, I'm like,
Oh
that's a
God.
lot. It's like a lot. So I do like about 20, and then I just like once I feel like I've got the stagnant energy moved, I just breathe 3 deep breaths, and then I feel like I have more space to do the stretching in my yoga practice. So and even then it's like sometimes it's just child pose for 5 minutes, and I'm like getting deep into my hips, sometimes my shoulders. Like every day looks different. And that's something that I think I really had to, shift that perspective in my mind of that, like my tools in my routine, in my you know, spiritual practice, like it's a really loose framework. Like it should be a loose framework because we are ever changing beings and every day we wake up in a different state, you know?
Mhm.
So sticking yourself to some rigid routine and structure is actually like really suffocating for your being and what it needs. So just giving yourself the space to just have what you need is so important. So yeah, I've just really allowed myself to take what I need in the morning. And following that whole body based practice, I'll do some breath work. And then a huge thing for me has been since, I work online is not touching my phone till at least 9 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
and giving myself that permission. because I've been waking up early. I'm like a 5:30, 6 o'clock girl. So yeah, it's kind of how it is out here. When the sun sets, you go to bed, and so you wake up early. It's nice, but then I get myself outside, and I have the ability to be outside all year round, and I'm really grateful for that. I mean, we all kind of have that ability, even if it's cold. Like I used to
Not
go
as
for walks in
fun.
the snow, but it's not fun.
No.
But yeah, I get outside and I get my eyes in the sunlight first thing in the morning. Like, I mean, here I am, like sharing these things that so many people are sharing on the internet, but I'm just here to reiterate them because it actually is like it actually works,
Yeah,
like we're
absolutely.
sharing this because it actually works. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I get outside and I put my feet on the earth. I'll go for a walk down by the beach. I'll swim in the ocean, like just anything. Like I'll be in the garden, getting myself just outside in the wee hours of the morning and like with upon just waking up has been a game changer for me in my overall just well-being. And then nourishment is for being a sensitive woman, like nourishment is probably like my number one priority in life, like truly being a chef, but also like I really found like nourishing my body on a cellular level with foods that come from the earth and that are not processed, like real food
Mhm.
is where I like found my healing. That it was the olive branch, that I found that opened up my whole world of healing. It's like that's oftentimes it's like you find one thing and it snowballs into
Yeah, it's like
everything else. Yes, exactly. And I cannot express enough how important proper nourishment is for human beings, and especially for women and our changing bodies and our different hormones and cycles and phases. And eating nutrient dense whole foods gives you the most sustained energy and vibrancy. And it's also, I'm a firm believer, it's also one of the highest forms of connection. When you eat real food that was provided for us, like that grows out of the earth that you walk on, like that is magic. That's magic. We have like it's so far beyond anything that we can even comprehend, like how it actually works. But it's just like this little gift, like here you go, you know. And when you put that into your body, it's like it's life force energy from the earth that you are putting in your body, and
yeah.
it will transmute and manifest in your health and in your relationships, in your creativity, in your abundance, in your work, in your money, your finances, your friendships. Like it is all connected. So I mean, I don't even remember what your question was. I just
She went on a tangent, but
I'm
it
a
was so
rambler.
good.
You gotta reel me back in. But
No, straight Ollie wisdom. And I fully believe that too. That's how my journey started. Seeing food as information and just how deeply shifting my relationship to food and the types of food that I was eating, and also realizing that my body has different needs at every single phase of my cycle, and how that approach to life has completely altered my state of consciousness.
mm,
And kind of like what the point of food is information, it's like when you're eating processed, chemical, toxic foods that are mass produced, that is not connected to the earth. It's not of the earth. So, like, what are you actually eating? You're eating ingredients. I wouldn't even call it food because it's not really food. It's like that is directing your body and your cells and your organs to like do their functions, and your
mhm.
body does not register what that is because it's not
Mm.
of nature. It's not real. So, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
start eating whole organic foods from the earth as local as possible if you can. That's like the instructions you're giving your cells to actually function and like thrive and like have balanced energy.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes back to like everything is energy. everything is
Everything
energy.
is energy.
And we have the choice. Like it's like the one thing we have kind of control over because we can't control much, as human beings, is what we want to consume. And I'm
Mhm.
not just talking about like nourishment, I'm talking about like books, social media, who you surround yourself with. Like we hold that power to choose who we want to be around, what
Yeah.
we want to read, what we want to eat. So really asking yourself, like, what energy do I want to exude out into the world? Because whatever you surround yourself with or put into your body, you become. Like all human beings are sponges. We're talking about us as sensitive women as sponges, but all human beings are sponges. We are a reflection of the world that surrounds us and what we surround ourselves with. And so being so intentional about what you choose throughout your life is going to shape who you are. And that's just that. And that is what I really have found true with nourishment. And it goes so deep that like eating animal protein, I always think about like you are what the thing you're eating ate. If you are, and we in the United States, we live in such a corrupt food system where things are grown in a lab or made in a factory, or the animal protein is like the chickens are shoved into a giant warehouse without sunlight and they're being fed an unnatural diet. Like those are the, like, if you choose to source your food that way, that's the energy that you're putting into your body, and of course it's going to disconnect you from your innate wisdom and your innate nature. But yeah, I just think that has been like one of the biggest download. Like I love that you said food is information. I've never really like, I've always heard, like food is medicine, but the information, I love that. Like that is like a huge download that I got, that I've received from the way that I choose to nourish my body, is like in choosing to nourish my body with real raw organic foods that come from the earth. I it's like opened up this whole web of realizing that everything is energy,
Hmm.
and that by choosing this one path, it's opened my eyes to all the other paths to choose,
Yeah.
in terms of wellness. And I think that's something that I'm really learning to transmute online, is that wellness is not like, wellness is a way of being
Hmm.
and a way of living your life. Sorry, there's chickens.
I thought you were pointing to the outside, like that is.
The way of life. Um, Wellness is not just one thing, it's everything. It's how you eat, it's how you create, it's your relationships, it's your work, it's your sleep schedule, it's your playtime, it's your family, it's your free time, like it's everything.
Yeah.
And like that's just I think the medicine that I always continue to come back to is being so intentional and how I choose those things.
Yeah, people always talk about how your subconscious is programmed from the time that you're in your womb to age 7.
Mm,
But like, what happens after that? Like, where you are, your environment, the people around you, what you're consuming is programming your subconscious at all times.
mm,
So, like, yeah, like you're always in a direct conversation with your subconscious mind. So, yeah, that kind of goes to say, like, everything you're interacting with in this present moment is having an impact on you.
hmm. It's so interesting. I love when that comes up, and that how like impressionable we are from 0 to 7. We are again sponges. It's like coming through so strongly. We're sponges, that we're like these little pure light beings that come into this world, and then we are like morphed into whatever we're exposed to. And like, even if you're raised by, I had a conversation with my mom yesterday, like even being raised by such incredible parents, I feel very blessed to say like they did the best that they could and they were amazing, but they still, like passed, like projected some of their trauma onto me, that I am now working through those layers of shedding. And like, I don't really know, I guess, know where I'm going with that. But I feel like the healing journey is so complex, you know? Like you may be set out to heal your acne or your inflammation, but in doing so, you're also having to heal all of your unconscious patterns and all of the things that maybe you adopted from your childhood and stored trauma. Like it's all interconnected. And it's like can be so mind-blowing sometimes when you think about it, you know, like healing is not just one thing, it's literally everything. It's in your way of showing up in the world, and then like it's all interconnected, and then everything around us is also interconnected. It's
Yeah.
like tapping into that state of energy of the interconnectedness like is where the medicine is where the healing is. And I don't know if you have anything to piggyback off of that.
Yeah, it's so non-linear, and that brings me back to
Yeah.
when you asked how it's been integrating, like while being
Mm,
home after being abroad and not living at home for so many years. And yeah, like coming back home, I feel like a completely different person. And I feel almost this parallel and this, I feel the version of self that existed here that was going through so many different phases of life and pain and like honestly suffering and also joy. But
mm,
just feeling the distance between the two and just feeling like, oh, just holding that version of myself so deeply and with so much love and compassion, feeling so proud of myself, while also just noticing all of the patterns that come up, maybe that I'm not like actively participating in anymore, but certain limiting beliefs that I feel from like my
mm,
parents or like even if they don't say anything, it's just their field of consciousness and
mm,
existence. That's just like this unspoken conversation
mm.
that
Huge.
impacts me. And it can be freaking heavy and like hard and challenging. And at the same time, it's like you can't run away from that.
Mm.
It's a part of you. It's
Lean into it.
within you for a reason. And I feel like being here, I'm presented this opportunity to transcend a lot of, I guess, behaviors and reactions that I used to have. And can say I've been doing a much, like, an amazing job relative to like all past years where I'm not nowhere near as reactive. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't impact me and like hurt me. And it doesn't mean it doesn't feel really fucking hard and like challenging sometimes. And I break down and cry because, yeah, it's just hard and it's heavy. But yeah, like I really do my best to stay anchored in who I know I'm becoming. And I feel like I've done so much
Mm,
inner work and like stabilization within myself to have the tools and know how to be anchored and know how to ground myself. And yeah, like you said earlier, for me, it's also like so many different ways to do it. And I feel like this season, journaling has been my holy grail. Like,
mm,
morning, I do morning pages every single day. And at night, I feel like I just need to brain dump what's on my mind. Whereas a few seasons ago, journaling was like here and there and also body-based practices. But yeah, it's like healing is so non-linear. You could go and like travel, live somewhere else and like have this huge expansion. Then you might go home and there's going to be this contraction and like how
mm,
the hell do I integrate all of this
mm,
into my current now? Because yeah, it's all about like stabilization. Like we go to these highs, we go to these lows. How can we like meet where we are right now?
mm.
So
There's so many threads of wisdom within what you just shared there. Um, Yeah, I really wanted to okay, I want to circle back to what you said about like the journaling and going back to the tools and the practices that we learn throughout our lives. Like I think it's so important to have that perspective of like they're tools to put in your tool belt, you know? And like if you have a tool belt, you're not going to need every single tool every day all the time, you know? They're there for you to support you when you need them.
mhm.
And I think that was a huge perspective shift for me, and that may be helpful for other women out there listening is that, like, just because you see other people online journaling every single day does not, and you don't have the capacity, like, if it feels so hard for you, like, there's that window of like, if it feels so hard for you that it is like painful, and if it feels hard for you, of like, you need to push through it. And like that's a threshold, that only you can know. Like, is this, am I avoiding doing this because I know it's good for me, or is this like actually not what I need right now? And it's having that state of awareness within you to be like, okay, like maybe this time in my life right now, like I need to work on regulating my body and my nervous system, and journaling isn't, top number one priority. Or maybe your mind is so crazy and you're doing good in your like in your body, and maybe you need to just brain up every morning and night, like it's having that awareness within yourself of like, what do I actually need right now and what can support me. So like giving yourself the permission for that to be okay is so important. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's always just listening to your own body's wisdom and kind of like tuning out what's happening externally. Because for me in this season of life, I've come to the realization that I've been so, although like I feel like awareness is one of my greatest gifts, especially within myself.
mm,
Yet I've still come to this realization recently that my energy has been so far outside of myself in like the most subtle ways. And it's been so draining and exhausting. And I'm in this point of like bringing it back to myself and like reassessing my habits, reassessing where my energy is going and bringing it back to myself.
mm,
But yeah, it's like your body
huge.
knows at the end of the day. And that's the most important wisdom and
Hmm.
guide that you can use rather than asking other people for their opinions or, yeah, asking for advice.
Yeah. And it's so important to provide check-ins with yourself every day so that you can, you know, listen to and reflect, like have that reflection of like, whoa, my energy is so far outside of myself. I need to reel that back in. And I actually shouldn't be putting energy that way because it's draining me, but you're never gonna know that if like it goes back to boundaries, having strong boundaries with yourself and creating that space for yourself to really check in with yourself every single day, whether it be in the morning or the night, and being like, what do I need right now? And doing like kind of lately this been coming up, like audit yourself, like give yourself an audit, like where am I expending too much energy, and where do I need to put more energy, and do I need to put more energy back into myself, or am I putting it, or do I need to put it more into my work or my relationships, it's that constant check-in. Like we hold all of the power and the wisdom within ourselves to know what we need, and and that is what leads to living a beautiful, authentic, happy, and aligned life, is making sure that you're taking care of yourself and your needs. Like that is such a huge, I feel like that's such a huge thing to overcome within yourself, is like giving yourself that permission and telling yourself, like knowing in your bones that it's okay to take what you need. Like it doesn't make you a selfish person.
Amen. With that, kind of trailing off of that, what does that look like in your life of creating an authentic life that
Mm.
feels good first and foremost rather than looking good on the outside based on I don't know, maybe if you have or had any societal expectations that would like cloud your mind of what you should do and what you should be to be successful or do this or that or whatever those stories are. How are you, yeah, maybe like shifting? Because I know we're both on this journey of really leaning deeper into our authentic selves and like pursuing the things that actually light us up. So, yeah, just curious how you are moving and like relating through that.
It's a potent question.
Deep.
That's a deep question. Right now, I have really been tuning in so deeply to my womb space and living from that place. And it's been a really potent time for me to really quiet my mind and like really drop into that space. Um, Not be rushed, I guess. I feel like it's teaching me not to be rushed. There's so much that I want to do and create and build and bring to the physical realm, and like work offerings and these dreams that I'm chasing. But Like since I've just really allowed myself to drop into my womb space, oh, it's so layered, but it's just really been reflecting back to me that things take time and to be patient, and that I'm exactly where I need to be on my journey. And I've really been taking pressure off of myself,
Mm.
which feels huge for me. And I've been allowing myself more spaciousness. I've been not chasing, I've been working so hard towards some dreams of mine, and I'm building a really beautiful life with my partner, and it's requiring so much time and energy. And so much so that I was really in a pattern of not enjoying myself enough. So a huge intention of mine in life lately has been to play and to create more for the sake of creating, not for work. So those are two ways that I really have been like showing up differently. It's just allowing myself to play and to create. And creating for me is, cooking, drawing, being in the garden, like different forms of creativity without the pressure of whatever it needs to look like or a specific outcome. And also not feeling the need to share it, to like capture a photo or a video and post it online. Work like it's such a hard line in working in content creation.
Yeah,
And the online space is like having that boundary of like, when can I just cook? Because since I share cooking online, like when can I cook just to cook for myself and enjoy it, or when am I like having that boundary, of like, I'm gonna do this for enjoyment and I'm gonna do this for work. So
totally.
it's been really strong for me lately.
Wow, that's so
Yeah,
beautiful. And yeah, I could
thanks.
definitely relate to that being a creator and anyone else listening that's a creator, that's such a thing. It's like the balance between not needing to share everything and just doing things for yourself before you like overgive or like share, overshare. So yeah,
Hmm.
I love that share.
Thanks.
And yeah, I guess to close up, what is one thing you would like your younger self to hear? Or I guess this kind of goes parallel with the woman who is listening to this podcast right now.
Mm. Everything you could ever need is already within yourself.
Mm.
You hold all the answers. I mean, that's just as simple as that. And that whatever you're going through right now, it's not forever. You will get on the other side, and it's going to be so much better than you ever could have imagined it. And you're so strong and so beautiful and so worthy and so capable. And your dreams are your dreams and yours alone, and they are yours for a reason. And they are yours to live and be. So don't give up.
Amen.
Mwah.
Yes. Yes, radiating that outwards and yeah, receiving that for myself. And I hope you're receiving that too. And I hope all the women listening in are receiving that. Yeah, I feel like we went so many places and I still wanted to dive into like the womb and like the journey with the
Mm,
living from the womb, but I'm sure
mm.
another podcast episode eventually
Yeah.
dive into all of the
I know
things.
we went so all over the place.
And if you're listening, I hope that you stayed along for the journey and made sense and it all came together in a beautiful, harmonious orchestra.
Mm.
But yeah, if you listened to this episode and you enjoyed it, make sure to go follow Ollie on Instagram. I will link her info below. And actually, my friend and I, Ray, are hosting a retreat, and Ollie will be cooking for us there. So, this episode is probably gonna be launched I don't know. I don't know if there'll be time, but if you're interested in coming, you should totally come. And yeah, make sure to rate the podcast on Spotify if you enjoyed it, just so we could get this out to more beautiful women all over the world. And yeah, Love you. Thank you, Ollie, for joining me.
Okay.
Our sweetest, most beautiful soul ever. I
Oh,
can't wait to meet
thank
you in
you.
person. This
I know.
I
So looking forward to that hug.
know. It'd be so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love you guys. See you soon.
Ah.